Here's the quick and easy way to set up your AI search campaigns and my advice on how to set it up properly. And so AI search campaigns are kind of like a dynamic search ad mixed with a performance max using some of those traits, but they're really a veiled attempt of Google trying to get you to use the broad match more often, because a lot of people have been skeptical, especially experienced advertisers like myself, to use broad match. And Google have worked very hard on that over the last couple of years, and they finally feel like they've kind of perfecting it with AI right now, and so they've released AI Max as like a semantic term. Okay, but anyway, let's get into it. So what I recommend is to copy and paste your most generic campaign that you have, your most generic campaign that seems to be working. So hit the edit, hit copy, and then you see this paste icon eventually, and then you hit paste and then wait for it, and eventually it'll just paste, kind of like this one. I recommend renaming it to like AI Max. Have the location modifier, so if this is in Melbourne, you do Mel, Mel, and then AI Max, and then what is the service? So it might be all services or something like that, right? So all services. That might be the naming convention that you use so that you know that it's an AI Max. You know that it's in Melbourne, like that's a target location, and this is targeting all services. Not that it is, just example. Next, you want to go over to your campaign settings. So click this little cog button. If you don't see a cog button, some people say that, then you try to find the settings inside of the campaign. So I've clicked on that. We'll go over to here. Now you can click Optimize with AI Max, right? And the reason we duplicated one of our old campaigns is just to simply test the AI Max against our other campaign that's already working. Now you can decide to turn the text customization on, or on or off, but you won't access the final URL if you turn it off, as you just saw, right? So you might want to add the final URL, but have some exclusions here, or exclusion rules. So for example, an exclusion rule might be like block anything that says blog in the URL structure, so that I'm not, sending people to my blog, etc., or legal pages or whatever. And you define these rules and click save so that they're exclusions. Once you've set up all those exclusions, you then go over to your brand exclusions. So normally you don't want your brand to show up in any of the searches. You don't want any of the terms you've already won, maybe organically or brand searches in general, to show up in any of these ads, simply because you're trying to get people who've never heard of you before usually, right? So you might want to exclude your brand and click save. And then from there, all the other settings pretty much stay the same with this. So you just make sure that those settings are turned on. And that's all there is really to it. Now my recommendation, right? So you've got all the ads set up already. You've basically copied an existing campaign already. The issue here is that it's going to take some stuff from your existing website, like a dynamic search ad does and like a performance max does. It's going to try to send to the most relevant URLs. And this is why I recommend that people split test and try this against other campaigns. Like, I wouldn't just put it in a black and white bucket and say that AI Max doesn't work or AI Max does work. I would test it against every single account that you can. Like if you manage multiple clients, then try to test the AI Max across different campaigns, different accounts, see if it works. Or if you don't have a dedicated budget to test it like this, then you might want to create an experiment, a custom experiment. I've got another video on that, and then duplicate an existing campaign. And the only difference you'll make is turn AI Max on. That's it. That's my recommendations on setting up your AI Max. It's super, super simple. If you've got any questions, more than happy to answer them, and I'll see you in the next video.